Power Rangers has been going downhill for many years, and there's only one person to blame for all of this, and you might be surprised on who it is. Let's talk about it. Yo, what's up guys, it's Este here and welcome back to the video, and today we'll be talking about the man who ruined Power Rangers. I know, Power Rangers hasn't been good in the last few years. I know, like Samurai and Megaforce, like trash. Not total trash, but like not at no SPD or Time Force in terms of quality here, folks. Can we agree on that? So I want to talk about the state of Power Rangers today and in the last decade really, and where it might go in the future. Once you find out who actually ruined Power Rangers, things just start making sense. So 1,500 likes and I'll bring you more videos just like this one. And don't forget to subscribe and ring notification bell to join the E Squad today. We're over 65,000 strong and I would love for y'all to join me because I wouldn't do y'all like how this one person did Power Rangers. Just saying. So let's start right into it, and first thing I want to show y'all is the ratings of Power Rangers. Just show you these pictures on the screen. Guys, Power Rangers has been down bad in viewership. It really has. From having over 1 million viewers or even 2 million in the last decade down to what today's number is, which is literally 300,000. Or even less sometimes. And that is literally horrible for Power Rangers. It was getting millions of viewers and now we're just getting a few 100,000. What's going on? Now there's a lot of factors and variables that goes into these ratings, but the main three are these. No promo from Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon, I don't know why they just don't like to promote the show, because you know, Nickelodeon doesn't make the show. It would be the own Power Rangers production company, so Nickelodeon's like, you're not SpongeBob or The Haunted Hathaways or iCarly. These are very all dated shows, so we're not gonna promote you. Number two would be the big 20 episode seasons. As you know, Power Rangers had hella more episodes, like 32 plus 50 episodes, and now it's just 20, and that's why they do 2 seasons for each individual Power Ranger team, which puts us behind on the current Sentai, but also just doesn't leave room for much because there's a big hiatus in between the first half of the show and the second half. That's horrible. In those few months that Power Rangers is not on the air, people just straight up forget about it, and that's why the ratings plummet on the show. The third factor, which is a recent one, would have to be the 8 a.m. time slot. If you don't know, Power Rangers used to be on 12 p.m. on Nickelodeon. That was a great time slot. It was like Saturday morning. I would wake up, do my breakfast and things, and I would sit down and watch the Power Rangers episode. But now it's at 8 a.m., which I'm still sleeping at 8 a.m. I don't like waking up early, but that's just me. And I don't think kids are really awake at 8 a.m. on a Saturday morning. Like, for real, Power Rangers used to have like prime time slots on Jetix and Toon Disney. So what happened here? However, believe it or not, there's actually a bigger reason that better explains why Power Rangers is in the state that it currently is. Because the man who ruined Power Rangers is actually its very own creator, Haim Saban. Now, for those who don't know about Haim Saban, let me give y'all a quick rundown on who he is and how powerful he is in the Power Rangers franchise. Haim thought up of Power Rangers way back when he went on a trip to Japan in 1984 to see some spandex heroes fighting rubber monsters. He would then buy the footage, write the script, and for the next 8 years, Haim would go network to network to find a home for his idea. That all led up to 1993 with the premiere of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which became an instant hit on Fox Kids and around the world. As in, the country of the USA, because you know, Japan, Super Sentai, you know what's up. After that, Saban would spend the next 8 years building up the Power Rangers franchise to become a huge household name, even creating a joint venture with Rupert Murdoch. And if you don't know who that guy is, can't blame me, he's just an old white man who was the head of Fox and News Corp at the time, the ones who obviously owned Fox Kids. They wanted to buy out Saban's Power Rangers company and just own the whole show, but Saban's like, no, let's not do that, let's just work together instead. And they became rich. They would become rich by basically making Fox Kids worldwide, which they would sell to Disney in 2001 for billions of dollars, basically making Haim Saban a millionaire. However, years later in 2010, Saban would buy back the show he abandoned so many years ago from Disney, wanting to relaunch it for a new generation, which later resulted in the 2011 show Power Rangers Samurai, amongst the other future seasons that would go along with it, such as Megaforce, Dino Charge, and Ninja Steel. Then you have 2018 when Haim Saban sold the show once again to Hasbro, but believe it or not, he still has an effect on the show till this day. The thing about Haim Saban is that he's very controlling and strict on how the Power Rangers show is run and written. And we see how the way he handled and produced things really not help out with the ratings at all, because the ratings just keep going down and down. In a recent interview with Sci-Fi, Simon Bennett, the showrunner of Power Rangers Dino Fury, would talk about his brand new season, including his work in the past with previous Power Rangers seasons, as he served as a director for both Ninja Steel and Beast Morphers. And in this interview, Bennett would go on to mention how him and his team would analyze Real Soldier, the adaptation that, Dino Fury comes from, to really pick out the best pieces of the show for both a kid audience and an adult audience, something Haim Saban never really did. Haim Saban would usually watch the first half of a season to determine whether or not it was doing a good job marketing to kids. And when he thinks a show isn't doing good at marketing to kids, he would give them a long list of requirements that you gotta fill out each checkbox with. These requirements include a strong moral core, a lesson of the day, an emotional heart-to-heart scene, 2 ground fights, a Megazord fight, no connecting between episodes, and a comedic duo. Which, when you think about it, having all these requirements that you gotta check out in each episode, it really doesn't give a lot of room for originality and real heart and core in a show like Power Rangers. And it makes it so the writers and directors can't really inject their personality into the show and really give the show the heart that it deserves. When you look at Power Rangers seasons before the Neo Saban era, they definitely had a lot more heart and originality to it. They really had that special feeling which made each season unique. For example, like Dino Thunder, that was a big season, had a lot of heart in it. Mystic Force with the power of magic, Jungle Fury, with martial arts or whatever, RPM and Apocalypse. That's a lot. What I just said about the Disney seasons and past seasons in general can't really be said about the Neo Saban seasons, as they're mostly standalone episodes and it doesn't really leave a lot of room for connection. And I think this is a big reason why we didn't see a lot of 2-parters in the Neo Saban era, as the only episodes that were allowed to connect to each other were the first 2 episodes of a season and the last 2 episodes of a season. And I guess this is why the Dino crossover and Beast Morphers felt like 3 individual stories instead of one overarching story, which would have been much cooler. But hey, Haim Saban has his ways. The comedic duo was also somehow very important for Saban for some reason. As you know, Saban would try to push the love of Bulk and Skull back into the hearts of MMPR nostalgics all around the world, when in Samurai he introduced Bulk and Spike, which tried to bring back that heart and comedic love that Bulk and Skull had in the 90s, but that was the 90s. This was 2010s. It just wasn't working. It was mostly depending on physical slapstick humor, which really didn't help with its both kid audience and adult audience. No one really liked it. Surprising, however, Megaforce and Dino Charge didn't really have that comedic duo, didn't really have a lot of comedy in general. Nah, I'm thinking about it. However, in Ninja Steel, they bought it back with Victor and Monty, which I always compared to Rick and Morty because of how the name sounds so similar. Anybody notice that? Just me? And later on, Ben and Betty in Beast Morphers. So even after Saban left the show into Hasbro's hands, he still had an effect on it, because he's still like, y'all need a comedic duo, put that Ben and Benny kid in there. And Victor and Monty was really hated by the fans, but actually very recently, fans been giving it some love. Like, hey, they had some moments. Like, they really tried their best to make Victor and Monty like these actual characters that had a good character arc, but Saban's like, nope, we need a fart joke in there. Actually make it 2. Simon would say how now in Dino Fury, these rules are a little more low-key, if anything, as the comedy moved from a comedic duo to more spread out throughout the show. There's still a comedic duo in there with J-Borg or whatever, but there's actually comedy with the Rangers and the villains in the dialogue, which is amazing. The episodes of Dino Fury have also been connecting to other Power Rangers seasons to better expand the lore, like in Ninja Steel when they had Mick back and the Ninja Nexus Prism. Also, the comics with Morphin Master showing up. It makes the show less predictable and gives it a lot more heart than previous seasons. Bennett would go on to mention how even with Saban's rules, they would still do their best in terms of adapting elements from the Sentai season, from integrating the toys more easily like the Megazords and the toys, to the overarching general theme like dinosaurs, which every kid loves dinosaurs. Haim Saban, of course, was the one who created the formula of making an inexpensive kids action show by using Japanese footage. But almost after 30 years, this formula has been perfected, and now recently in Dino Fury, they don't really use a lot of Japanese footage like that, only with the Megazord fights and the big action stunts that they really can't do like that. That keeps the budget low, but the enjoyment still high. Now the show is mostly just original footage, which is pretty cool. Overall, the Power Rangers brand has been on a real downfall since Haim picked it back up. And as much as I love the 2017 Power Rangers movie, it really didn't do a lot to grow the brand. With a mediocre story and a blatant Krispy Kreme advertisement, people just weren't messing with it like that. However, with Simon Bennett at the helm, we've seen a change in the show. And possibly if they stop using Sentai footage as a whole and just focus on original stuff, like with their future teen-oriented show and the animated show and the future film, there's this big Power Rangers universe on the way, and I'm literally so excited, and I hope Haim Saban does not touch it. But for now, we still live and breathe the effects of what Saban did to his own creation. So what do you think? Is Haim Saban actually the villain of the Power Rangers franchise? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, @DonFuego. I'm also on Instagram, @NotDonFuego. Have a great morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you're at, and of course, and as always, stay awesome, everybody.